We're here at Shauny Park in Roaring Spring, and we're gonna go check out the waterfall. Here we are at Shauny Park here in Roaring Spring, and my son Levi is swinging on the swing for a little bit before we go down to the waterfall. But Shauny Park is a really quiet park in Roaring Spring. It's operated by the Roaring Spring Lions Club, and that cabin down there, they have events down there. You know, you can rent it for banquets or weddings, and they have, you know, some pavilions around here, and yeah, birthday parties. They do have an indoor shooting range for archery, but it's a nice little park here to come down and enjoy in Roaring Spring. It's very quiet, and you know, if you want to come down and take a walk, but it's definitely a nice small little park here. Okay, we're at Shauny Park in Roaring Spring, and we are going to go down the trail to the Cabbage Creek Waterfall and show you this cool little waterfall here in Roaring Spring. We'll go the other trail. Here's a steep trail that goes down to the waterfall, but we'll go the trail that leads around the hillside. Over here we noticed an old foundation where, you know, a house or some kind of structure sat. And I noticed in the woods around Shauny Park there's you know, remnants of what would have been some structures. So I'm not sure the history on the property around Shauny Park here, but maybe we'll figure it out. It's a nice little trail. It's not too steep, but it's just a nice quiet hike down to the waterfall. This waterfall is known to be the Cabbage Creek Waterfall, or Halter Creek Waterfall, or even Hogback Waterfall. So we call it the Cabbage Creek Waterfall. We have two little creeks that meet up. Over there is Cabbage Creek, flows from the top. And then Halter Creek. Halter Creek comes from, you know, Woodbury area, Bloomfield area, all the way down here and meets up with Cabbage Creek. Right there's Cabbage Creek, Halter Creek, then it continues on out. Like I said, this is Halter Creek. This comes from Bloomfield area down to an area that's known as the Steam Pump Dam, which was an old dam that was built to provide water to Orhill washers at the iron ore mining site, and they would use that water up at Steam Pump Dam to clean the iron ore rock. For a little bit of history for you, but this is Halter Creek, and it comes down and meets up with Cabbage Creek, and we'll go up and check out the waterfalls now. Okay, we're getting close to the waterfall here. Yeah, there's a very nice shortcut there. And here we are, the Cabbage Creek Waterfalls. Here on the waterfalls, you can just sit right on the rocks and get cooled off by the water coming down the falls. It's very, very relaxing on a hot day. Like I said, this is what I would say it's a nice little gem here in the Morrison's Cove. It's a nice spot that, you know, some people know about it, but not everybody does. And it's just a cool place you can come and hang out and just relax. So check it out this summer and cool off a little bit. Back up the hill to Shauny Park. Okay, we are heading towards Bloomfield and Roaring Spring, and we're going to go check out the Steam Pump Dam, and we'll tell you a little bit about the history of this old dam that was along here in Roaring Spring. Okay, we're heading down through the fields here to the steam pump dam. This is an area that is on private property and you're not allowed to visit this area, but I'm very good friends with the owners of this property, so they gave me permission to come down and check it out, and we can at least show it to you. And there's some really beautiful spot here in the cove that I'm looking forward to showing you here. Okay everyone, we're here at the steam pump dam. This was a large area where Halter Creek would feed into this area here, and they turned it into a dam. And the reason why it's called Steam Pump Dam is we're very close to Orhill, and we are finding iron ore rock everywhere along this area here. It's just, you know, it's everywhere in the in the ground here. And you know, iron ore was it was a big commodity back in the 1800s, because they were mining iron ore rock and they were smelting it at many local furnaces to make iron. And the reason why a steam pump dam was here was they would use steam pumps, and they would take this water and pump it a mile up to Orhill, where their major iron ore mining sites were, where they were mining hundreds of thousands of tons of iron ore. And they needed water to clean the iron ore to remove the clay when they would dig it out of the ground. So they would use this water to clean the iron ore rock up at Orhill. So they would actually, like I said, they would pump this water using a steam pump system and run it about a mile up to Orhill. So it's really incredible to think about what they did back in those days. Let's go around here and check this area out. Okay, we're at Steam Pump Dam, and we are actually standing on the area that used to be the actual dam that was removed many years ago. I believe DEP made them take this dam out, but pretty impressive. So as we leave Steam Pump Dam, I just like to think, wow, this area was operating heavily from probably the 1840s up until the early 1900s. And I think about the men that used to mine the iron ore all around Orhill and Lafayette'sville and certain areas around the Cove. It was a very big industry back then, and times are different now, for sure. Do you like it, Levi? Okay, so we walked around Steam Pump Dam, and we came to the area heading closer to Bloomfield Furnace and Orhill. And we talk about how they took water out of this steam pump dam, and they would use a steam pump, and they would send the water all the way up to Orhill with using pipes. Now I'm over here at this flat spot, and I notice all sorts of coal slag. It's everywhere here. And there's a flat spot up there with lots of coal slag, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that there was a structure right here with the mechanics that, you know, they had the steam pump here. They probably used some coal, and they used their power unit right here to get the water pumping over to Orhill. So just looking around, seeing all this coal slag here, I'm gonna say the structure for pumping the water was probably right around here. And I found this neat piece of iron. It was a part of something laying right here, so just kind of neat. I wish we had pictures of this site back in the day, but pretty interesting. We got lots of different, things here. We got coke. They would use that to blast the furnaces. We have, coal. We have iron ore. We have slag, probably from this coal system, steam pump that they were using. There's all sorts of slag along this hill. So there had to have been something right here. This is probably the area they were pumping the water up to Orhill. Got slag all over the place. Yep. I believe I have some iron ore rock down there. It's just everywhere up here. So you know something was going on right here. There's another large flat spot right here too. So, well, we'll keep on heading down the road. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Here's Orhill, and if you look down in the woods here, this is private property, so I can't go down in there. But if you look down in there, you'll see all the big dips and cuts, and this is where they were mining iron ore rock. Orhill had lots of iron ore pits, some of the best iron ore in the nation at the time. I'm not going to go too far down in here, but here's an old iron ore hole. Like I said, this is private property, so I'm going to stay right here. But you can see how this is all dug out for iron ore rock. So, pretty neat. Lots of iron ore mining at Orhill. Okay, we're turning onto Orhill Road in Roaring Spring. And we're going to go check out the Iron Masters Country Club. And we'll show you one big old ore hole that's filled in as a pond today. But we'll go check that out. Okay, we're at the Iron Masters Country Club here in Roaring Spring. And this site right here, what you're looking at, it's a pond right now, but this is actually an old iron ore hole. This is a large area where they were digging iron ore rock out. And you can see it's pretty deep. So, and around Orhill and this golf course, there would have been hundreds of iron ore holes. And through the community outside of the Iron Masters, there's neighborhoods and houses that literally have iron ore pits in their backyards, trenches, underground mines. Even this golf course with the terrain, they probably utilized a lot of these trenches and holes for their golf course. So it actually kind of worked out pretty good for them. But this is a very notable iron ore pit here at the Iron Masters Country Club. I believe this is on the 13th green. And right now, they don't mine iron ore, they mine golf balls. And that is my joke for the night. Gotta love the Cove.